everyone, welcome to Biology with MJ. This is MJ, your enthusiastic guide. So whether you are a NEET aspirant or simply a biology lover, this video is filled with valuable insights and knowledge. Okay, so stay tuned till the end of the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss an update. Remember to like, comment and share this video with your friends. Okay, so let's get to the video.
Hello everyone. So this is going to be the last video from the chapter Morphology of Flowering Plants. In this video, we will be wrapping up the chapter by covering the topics the fruit, the seed and the family Solanaceae. We would be describing the characteristic features of the family Solanaceae. We'll discuss about its floral features, its floral diagram, floral formula. Alright. And for the previous videos, if you want to check them out, I do recommend you to check those videos out as well. You can check out the playlist link that I have attached here, and it is also given in the description box of this video. Okay, so let us begin today's video. So starting off with the fruit, we all know that fruit is the characteristic feature of the flowering plants. Okay. What is a fruit basically? It represents a mature or ripened ovary which is developed after fertilization. In the previous video also we studied that a mature ovary is the one which develops into a fruit. जो ovary wall होता है, that portion is the one which matures into pericarp of the fruit. We would be discussing these terms in more detail as we progress further. Okay, so as you can see in this image, this is pomegranate. Okay, Hindi mein we call it as anar. So this is a developing fruit on the left and the flower is given on the right. Okay, this is a developing fruit. The ovary is developing into a fruit. So what do we know from previous videos? That ovules are present inside the ovary. The ovules convert into seeds. Okay, and the ovary matures into the fruit. Okay, and if we go into more specifics, ovary wall develops into the fruit wall. Fruit wall is known as the pericarp. Alright. Now there are some fruits which are formed without the fertilization of the ovary. Okay, here we studied that the fruits are formed after fertilization of the ovary. After the ovary has been fertilized, it matures and ripens in order to form a fruit. But there are some fruits where fertilization of the ovary does not take place and the fruit forms. That is, the ovary matures into a fruit without the fertilization of the ovary. Such fruits are known as Parthenocarpic fruits. Okay? These fruits are seedless because ovules have not fertilized. Fertilization, how does fertilization takes place? The pollen tubes enters the ovule, okay, fertilizes with the embryo sac, specifically with the egg cell of the embryo sac, right? And one of the polar and the other male gamete fuses with the two polar nuclei, okay, in order to form a triploid endosperm nucleus. So, but in this cases, since the ovules are not getting fertilized, the seeds are not formed. These fruits are seedless. Examples are bananas, grapes, pineapple, seedless watermelon. As you can see in this image, this is a normal watermelon fruit which contains seeds. Okay, fertilized ovules are there which convert into seeds. But here, since the ovules have not been fertilized, they do not form seeds. That is why we can see seedless fruits like this. Seedless watermelon can be seen here because no ovule was fertilized here. That is why no seeds have been formed in this case. Alright, so this is a parthenocarpic fruit and this is a normal fruit. Now let us study the parts of a fruit. Now the fruit consists of a wall. Okay, fruit consists, obviously the fruit will consist of a wall which is known as the fruit wall. It can also be called as pericarp. Okay, so the fruit consists of number one, pericarp or fruit wall and seeds. A normal fruit we are talking about, not a parthenocarpic fruit. Now the pericarp can be dry or fleshy. So all of the portion of the fruit that we consume is the pericarp only, right? And this pericarp can be dry also and it can be fleshy also. When the pericarp is thick and fleshy, it can be differentiated into an outer epicarp, the middle mesocarp, and an inner endocarp. For example, let us look at a dry fruit here. So this is a peanut, okay, groundnut fruit. So this is a dry fruit because we remove this outer covering, we remove this fruit wall. This is the pericarp of this fruit. We remove it when we consume the seeds of groundnut. Okay, this portion inside these structures are the seeds of groundnut. And the seeds are what we consume when we consume groundnut. We discard of the fruit wall of groundnut because it is this dry and papery kind of structure. Okay, but in case of a peach fruit, which is a fleshy fruit, the pericarp is thick. Okay, here the pericarp was very thin, but here it is thick. And since it is thick, we can differentiate it into various layers. So the outermost layer is the exocarp, which is also known as the epicarp. Okay, you can call it epicarp, you can call it exocarp. Then the middle layer, this is the major portion which we consume when we eat a fruit. So this middle fleshy portion is the mesocarp. Okay, and the inner portion which just covers the seed is the endocarp. Okay, beyond endocarp is the seed is present, and the seed comprises of the seed coat. The outermost layer of the seed represents the seed coat. Then comes the endosperm. Okay, and then the embryo which is floating inside the endosperm. All right, but for this part we are only concerned majorly about the pericarp, so let us discuss that only. So this whole region from here to here represents the pericarp. So let us revise. This is the exocarp, the green colored covering. Middle yellow portion is the mesocarp, and the inner portion here up till here, this region is the endocarp, and beyond this region, this papery structure here, the seed begins. Okay, so the innermost layer is the endocarp. So these are the various parts of a fruit, depending upon whether the fruit is dry or fleshy. But all of the fruits would have, a normal fruit would have seeds and pericarp or a fruit wall. Now this pericarp can be thick or fleshy in case of a fleshy fruit, or it could be thin in case and dry in case of a dry fruit. Now, in mango and coconut, the fruit is known as a drupe. Okay, note this term. This is very important. You should remember it. What happens in a drupe? Drupe develops from monocarpillary superior ovaries, which are one-seeded. Okay, so monocarpillary means only one carpel is present. Superior ovaries means that the ovary occupies the highest position. Okay, and it is one-seeded. So this is how the gynoecium looks like in case of the development of a drupe fruit. So the drupe develops from monocarpillary superior ovaries, which comprises of one seed only. Okay, so the two examples of drupe fruits are mango and coconut. So in case of mango, the pericarp is differentiated into an outer thin epicarp. See, this is the outer thin exocarp or epicarp. We remove this layer when we consume mango. We eat the middle fleshy edible mesocarp. Note the term edible. Edible is mentioned here because that is the portion that we are consuming while eating mango. The inner stony hard endocarp. So this region here, this hard region, stony region here is the endocarp. Okay, these are the three layers of the pericarp of mango. The inner region, which is very stony, in Hindi we call it as gutli, right? But inside that endocarp is present the seed of mango. Okay, now let us consider the coconut fruit. In coconut fruit, there is this outer shell again, which is known as the epicarp. Then there is this husk layer which is known as the mesocarp. It is fibrous. Okay, the husk of coconut is fibrous. Now this is the inner shell or the inner layer which is known as the endocarp. Now beyond the endocarp comes the seed portion. Now this is the coconut flesh which represents the cellular endosperm. And inside it is the coconut water which represents the liquid endosperm. Okay, so in coconut we can find two kinds of endosperms, the cellular endosperm, and here there is liquid or free nuclear endosperm, we can also say. Free nuclear would be a more appropriate term to be written here. So free nuclear endosperm is the liquid endosperm that we consume as coconut water, and the outside the liquid endosperm is the coconut flesh which is also edible. We eat it also, right? So these are the three layers of the pericarp. Okay, and beyond endocarp is the seed of the coconut where endosperm is present. Okay, because inside the seed embryo is present, then endosperm is present. So this is the endosperm part of the seed. Alright, so the major point to be noted here is that the mesocarp of coconut is fibrous. Okay, it contains of many fibers. It is very husky, brown colored structures. You have seen coconut whenever there is some opening ceremonies, okay, किसी चीज का उद्घाटन होता है, we have seen in our families that coconut को लाके फोड़ दिया जाता है. It is the brown coconut उसको लाते हैं जिसके बहुत fibrous होता है ऊपर से. So that is the mesocarp portion of the coconut. Okay, and it is fibrous. So this green coconut represents the young coconut. When this coconut matures, so green coconut is the one that we consume the coconut water from, right? Nariyal pani, which we call it in Hindi, right? So when this coconut matures, okay, when it is harvested in the younger stages, it looks like this. But when it matures, it looks like the brown coconut, which we use in the ceremonies. And if you would have observed, it is covered with numerous brown colored fibers. So that layer, which is very fibrous and husky, is nothing but the mesocarp layer of the coconut. Okay, mesocarp is the fibrous layer or the husk layer of the coconut. It is also known as the coir, right? So in the mature coconut, the fibrous layer, okay, which we see, which is covered with numerous fibers, the brown coconut, that outermost layer is the mesocarp layer. All right. Now let us come to the types of fruits. Now fruits are of three types: simple fruits, aggregate fruits, and multiple fruits, जिसको हम composite fruits भी बोल सकते हैं. Now what happens in simple fruits? Now these fruits develop from single flowers having a single ovary. Simple fruits are those which develop from a single flower only. Only one flower is involved in their development. And those flowers also have only a single ovary, not more than one ovary. So they could either be, the ovary could either be simple or it could be a syncarpous compound ovary. A single ovary, if more than one ovaries are there, they should be fused together. Otherwise, only a single ovary should be there. Okay, syncarpous condition should be there or a single ovary should be there. These fruits can be dry or they can be fleshy. When we call dry fruits, we mean that the pericarp is dry, and when we call a fruit as fleshy, we mean that the pericarp is fleshy. We have already covered this concept, okay, few minutes back. Now examples of simple fruits are pea, tomato, guava, brassica. Now you can see here, this is tomato. Okay, the whole of the tomato is edible. Okay, we do not leave any portion of the tomato. Each and every part of tomato is edible. Okay, except this calyx region. Okay, these leftover sepals, we consume the whole fruit. Then this is the pea pod. So tomato is the berry. Okay, now this is pea, which is a pod. This is also a simple fruit. Okay, and this is guava. Guava is also a simple fruit. And all of these fruits have developed from single flowers which had a single ovary. A single ovary or a syncarpous compound ovary, which is single, in which multiple ovaries have fused together in order to now form a single ovary. Okay. Now let's come to aggregate fruits, which are also known as heteros. Okay, which can also be an aggregate fruit, can also be called as an hetero. What are these fruits? It is a group of simple fruitlets that develop from two or more apocarpous ovaries of a single flower. So in aggregate means a collection of something. So it is a collection of numerous fruitlets which come together to make a combined fruit. Okay, so one fruit here is made up of numerous fruitlets, various units which are known as fruitlets. They develop from, now in the previous case of simple fruits, only a single ovary was involved, but in this case, two or more than two multiple ovaries of a single flower are involved in the formation of an aggregate fruit. Hence, the condition is apocarpous because free ovaries are there. Note the term free. Previously, the ovaries were fused with each other to form a single ovary. Multiple ovaries were, if they were present, they had to be fused with each other in order to form a single ovary. But in the case of aggregate fruits, two or more free ovaries need to be present in a single flower in order to give rise to an aggregate fruit. So the condition has to be apocarpous, because apocarpous condition means numerous carpels are present which are not fused with each other. So multiple free ovaries are there. So it is formed from a polycarpellary ovary. Okay, numerous carpels are there which are not fused with each other, and each ovary develops into a fruitlet. So each ovary of each carpel will develop into a fruitlet, and all the fruitlets are together form an aggregate fruit. They come together, all the fruitlets, in order to be called as an aggregate fruit. So examples of such fruits are strawberry, custard apple, raspberry, etc. So you can see in strawberry, this is a flower of strawberry, this is the fruit of strawberry, this is custard apple, this is the flower of custard apple, this is the fruit of custard apple. Both of these are aggregate fruits which are formed from numerous fruitlets, okay, which comprise of numerous fruitlets. Now in the next image you can see this is raspberry, this is the flower of raspberry, this is the fruit of raspberry. See, each unit represents a fruitlet, and each fruitlet forms from one ovary because the condition is apocarpous. So each ovary here which is giving rise to a, we are not calling that each ovary is giving rise to a fruit, we are calling that each ovary is giving rise to a fruitlet because the combined structure is known as a fruit. And these units are known as fruitlets because only a single flower is involved here. Okay, so we cannot call it as that multiple fruits are forming. We will call it multiple fruitlets are forming in order to be called as an aggregate fruit. Okay, now let's come to multiple or composite fruits. Now multiple or composite fruits develop from the entire inflorescence and are always pseudocarp. Okay, now up until now we have studied in simple fruits and aggregate fruits that only a single flower is involved. But inflorescence we know is a collection of flowers. So when fruits develop from the entire inflorescence, from the entire collection of flowers, these types of fruits are known as composite fruits. Okay, when the entire inflorescence is involved in the formation of a fruit, such fruits are known as composite fruits, and these are always pseudocarps. Okay, what are pseudocarps? In pseudocarp fruits, pseudocarps are false fruits. Okay, in these fruits, apart from the ovary, various other floral parts are also involved in the formation of the fruit. Normally, we know in normal fruits that the ovary is responsible for the formation of fruit. But in pseudocarps, apart from the ovary, certain other floral parts are also contributing in the formation of the fruit. For example, in the case of apple, thalamus region is involved in the formation of a fruit. So apple is also a pseudocarp. Okay, but apple is not a composite fruit. It is a simple false fruit. And pseudocarps are known as false fruits only. But we are talking about the case of composite fruits. So composite fruits are always pseudocarps. Okay, but not all pseudocarps are composite fruits. Some of the pseudocarps can be simple fruits also, simple false fruits. Okay, so this is not a rule that all of the pseudocarps will always be composite fruits, because apple here is a simple false fruit. It is not a composite fruit. So the examples of multiple or composite fruits are mulberry, fig, pineapple. Okay, so in this diagram, pineapple fruit is given. So this is the inflorescence of pineapple. Okay, so an inflorescence is a collection of flowers. So here multiple flowers of pineapple are there. So see, these purple colored structures represent the pineapple flowers. Okay, these are present in an inflorescence of pineapple, multiple pineapple flowers. So each segment here in the pineapple fruit, so this is the pineapple fruit, and each segment that you can see in the pineapple fruit develops from the ovary of one of these flowers. Okay, each of these flowers develop into one segment that is present in the pineapple fruit. So each segment develops from the ovary of one of these flowers. So numerous flowers are involved in the formation of this pineapple fruit. Now let's come to the seed. So the ovules after fertilization develop into seeds. The ovary after fertilization develops into the fruit, and the ovules after fertilization they develop into seeds. What is the seed made up of? It is made up of a seed coat and an embryo. Okay, so this is how a seed looks like. This is the split up seed. Okay, the outer layer of the seed is known as the seed coat, and inside the seed coat is present the embryo. Okay, what is an embryo made up of? An embryo is made up of a radicle and embryonal axis and one or two cotyledons. Two cotyledons are present in case of dicots, and a single cotyledon is present in case of monocots. Monocots as in wheat, maize, etc. Dicots as in gram and pea. Okay, so radicle, what is the radicle? Radical portion is responsible for the development of the roots. So this portion is the radicle. This portion is the plumule region, which is responsible for the development of shoots. Okay, so an embryo is made up of a radicle. Okay, the embryonal axis comprises of a radicle and a plumule. So this region is the radicle, this region is the plumule. All right, and one or two cotyledons are present. Okay, so these are the cotyledons. So two cotyledons are present in case of dicots, and one cotyledon is present in case of monocots. So let us first consider a dicot seed. So a dicot seed has a seed coat, as do all seeds have. Okay, so the outermost covering is the seed coat, which is made up of two layers. The outer layer is known as the testa and the inner layer is known as the tegmen. Now there is this region in the seed which is known as the hilum. Hilum is basically a scar through which the seeds attach themselves to the fruit. Okay, seeds are attached to the fruit via a region, right? And this region is, when the seeds detach from the fruit, a scar is left on the seeds. Okay, this scar is the region through which the seeds were attached to the fruit. Okay, so this is the point of attachment. Hilum is the point of attachment of the seeds to the fruit. Now, there is a small pore which is present near the hilum, which is known as the micropyle. Okay, this is a small pore. It absorbs water and oxygen. Gaseous exchange takes place through this pore. Okay, at the time of seed germination, it absorbs water and helps the seeds to germinate. So this is the function of micropyle. So these are very important parts of a seed. You must remember their functions and their names very well. Now within the seed coat is the embryo, which consists of an embryonal axis and two cotyledons. Okay, so if we split open a dicot seed, we will find that there is this embryonal axis. At the top part of the axis is the plumule, at the bottom part is the radicle. Plumule is responsible for giving rise to the shoots and radicle is responsible for giving rise to the roots. and then these two cotyledons are present. Okay, these cotyledons are fleshy and they are full of reserve food materials. So reserve food materials for nourishing the embryo at the time of seed germination. The embryo needs nutrition, right? So cotyledon provides this nutrition to the developing embryo. At the two ends of the embryonal axis, we have already covered that radicle and plumule are present. Okay, now consider this seed. This is the bean seed. Here also radicle is present. Okay, seed coat is present, plumule is present, two cotyledons are there, seed coat is there, embryo is there. So this region is the embryo only. Okay, because the embryo consists of embryonal axis and two cotyledons. So this whole region represents the embryo region only. So here we have covered the bean seed, and here we covered the chickpea. Okay, this is chickpea, which is also a dicot. So we have covered that in both these cases, that is in the case of dicotyledon seeds, basically that the seed coat is present, and inside the seed coat embryo is there, which comprises of an embryonal axis and two cotyledons. So this whole region is the embryo in chickpea, and this whole region is the embryo in the case of bean seeds. Okay, and all of these embryos are surrounded by seed coats, because these comprise these both are the parts of seeds only. A seed comprises of seed coats and the embryo sac. Now let's come to the endosperm. Now apart from the seed coat and the embryo, there is a third structure which can be present in some seeds. It is not present in all the seeds, but in some of the seeds this structure is present, which is known as endosperm. So endosperm is a tissue which forms as a result of double fertilization. Okay, when the second male gamete, so there are two male gametes, one of the male gametes fuses with the egg cell to give rise to the zygote and then the embryo. The second male gamete goes upwards and fuses with the two polar nuclei in order to give rise to a triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Okay, and what does it do? It divides to form the endosperm tissue. So endosperm tissue, what is its function? It provides nutrition to the developing embryos. Now endosperm, what is its function? It provides nutrition to the developing embryos. It is a nutritive tissue. Based on the presence or absence of embryos, the seeds can be of two types: endospermic seeds and non-endospermic seeds. Now what happens is, in endospermic seeds, as the name suggests, in endospermic seeds, food is stored in the endosperm. In non-endospermic seeds, food is stored in the cotyledons. So cotyledons are the only source of nutrition for the developing embryo in non-endospermic seeds. Whereas in endospermic seeds, food is stored in the endosperm. The embryos derive nutrition from the endosperm, which is the nutritive tissue. In case of endospermic seeds, endosperm is not completely used by the developing embryo. So a small portion of it remains in the seed. What happens in both the kinds of seeds? In all of the seeds, endosperm is present in the initial stages. Obviously, as a result of double fertilization, in all of the seeds, endosperm forms. But what happens in endospermic seeds? Endosperm is retained up until maturity, after maturity also. So endosperm in this case is not completely used by the developing embryo. A portion of it remains in the seed. Whereas in non-endospermic seeds, the endosperm is completely used by the developing embryo before the maturation of seed. So here, after the seed matures also, endosperm remains because it is not completely used by the developing embryo. But in this case, before the seed has matured, the developing embryo has consumed the entire endosperm. So no endosperm is left in the seed. That is why the name non-endospermic seeds is given to such kinds of seeds. So examples of endospermic seeds are coconut. We saw also in the previous slides that coconut consists of coconut water, which represents the free nuclear endosperm or the liquid endosperm, and then there is the fleshy white region which represents the cellular endosperm. Castor, maize, so all of these are endospermic seeds. Okay, in the case of non-endospermic seeds, the examples are pea, bean, gram, mustard. Okay, you must remember these examples. Now let's come to monocot seeds or monocotyledonous seeds. So generally monocot seeds are endospermic, okay, but some as in orchids are non-endospermic. In the seeds of cereals such as maize, the seed coat is membranous, generally fused with the fruit wall. So in the seeds of certain cereals are also monocots, right? So for example, in maize, the seed coat that is present, it is very thin, papery and membranous, and it is generally fused with the fruit wall. So there is not much of a distinction between the fruit wall and the seed coat because both are very thin and like fused with each other. The endosperm is bulky and stores food in case of monocot seeds. Okay, so most of the monocot seeds are endospermic only, but some exceptions are always there. So in orchids, which are also monocots, they have non-endospermic seeds. So as you can observe in this image, these are orchids. Okay, they have non-endospermic seeds. These are the flowers of orchids. Now let's come to the structure of a monocotyledonous seed. So in these images, the maize seed has been covered. Okay, maize seed has been covered. Okay, so the outer covering of the endosperm separates the embryo by a proteinaceous layer called the alluron layer. So this is the cross section of the maize seed. So a whole seed of maize would look like this. Okay, these are just the different views of the two seeds. So this is the cross section of the seed. So the outer layer region here is the endosperm, which surrounds the embryo. Embryo is present here at one end and it is surrounded with the endosperm. Okay, if you observe in more detail in the cross section, you would find that this is the endosperm, this region, whole region is the endosperm, and it is surrounded by a layer known as the alluron layer. It is a proteinaceous layer. Okay, it is a proteinaceous layer. So this is the outer covering of the endosperm, and it separates the embryo. It is distinct from the embryo because of this layer, the alluron layer, which separates the endosperm and the embryo. So embryo here is very small and it is situated in a groove at one end of the endosperm. So this is the embryo. Okay, it is situated at one end of the endosperm. So this region here represents the embryo region, and it is present at one end of the endosperm in a small groove. Majority of the region is constituted by the endosperm, and the embryo is present towards one end. So what does the embryo comprise of? We all know that it comprises of cotyledon and it comprises of the embryonal axis, which contain plumule and radicle. So here it comprises of a one large shield shaped cotyledon known as the scutellum. Please remember this term, scutellum. It is very important and questions also come from this part. So monocots, we know, as the name suggests, it comprises of only one cotyledon. So in case of maize, here, this cotyledon is known as the scutellum. Okay, this is large and shield shaped, and it comprises of a short axis that contain plumule and radicle. Plumule, which will give rise to the shoot, and the radicle, which gives rise to the root. And the region protecting the plumule, there is a protective sheath which protects the plumule, which is known as the coleoptile, and there is another region, another protective sheath which protects the radicle, which is known as the coleorhiza. Okay, so these are the important parts of a monocot seed. So whether it is maize or any other monocot seed, a single cotyledon would be present in all the monocot seeds, and this single cotyledon is known as scutellum. So all the monocot seeds have one cotyledon, and in all the seeds this cotyledon is known as the scutellum. Okay, and when we covered the endosperm part, we have covered that most of the monocot seeds are endospermic, but except some orchids, okay, which are non-endospermic. In case of dicots can be both endospermic also and non-endospermic also. Their seeds can be of both the types. Now let us come to semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. How do we describe a flowering plant? Okay, so we look at various morphological features of a flowering plant in order to describe it. How is the plant looking like? How is its root looking like? Its stem look? How does its stem look like? What is the leaf arrangement? What is its floral? How does its flower look like? How are they arranged? Then we go into more depth that what are the structures of the flower, internal structures of the flower? How is the androecium present? What is the arrangement of the sepals, the petals? How does the gynoecium look like? Okay, so various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. Okay, and it comprises of the semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. When we describe a typical flowering plant in technical terms, we call it as a semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. So the description has to be brief and simple in scientific language, and it should be presented in a proper sequence. So what is the sequence? First of all, we describe the habit of the plant. Okay, then we describe its vegetative characters, which includes about characters of the roots, the stem, the leaves. Okay, these are the vegetative characters. Now we come to the floral characters, or the characters of the flowers. Okay, prior to flowers, we have covered all the other parts of the plant, whether it be roots, stems, leaves, its habit. Then we are at last we come to the floral characters, the inflorescence and everything about the flower and its part. After describing various parts of the plant, we present the flower in the form of a floral diagram, and the floral formula is also mentioned. Okay, so this comprises of a semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. So what is a floral formula? So a formula comprises of certain signs and symbols, right? So scientists have also designated certain symbols for floral parts. Each floral part has been given a specific symbol in order to write in a floral formula, in order to represent that particular part when we write a floral formula. So if the flower contains bracts, it is a bracteate flower and the symbol is Br. For calyx, the term K is given as the symbol. For corolla, the term C is given as a symbol. For perianth, the term P is given. For androecium A, for gynoecium G. Okay. Now, if we want to represent a superior ovary in the floral formula, we write the gynoecium as this and we draw a horizontal line beneath. Okay, what is it representing? That the gynoecium occupies the highest position. That is why it is G is written over the top of on this line. For in the case of inferior ovary, the G is written below the line because it represents that the gynoecium is it occupies a lower position. It is inferior. The ovary is inferior. Okay, so if the flower is for the male reproductive organ, the symbol given is this. If the male flower is there, sorry, not the male reproductive organ, this is talking about a male flower. Okay, if the flower is male, this symbol is given. For female flower, this symbol is given, and for a bisexual plant, this symbol is given. This is the fusion of both of these symbols. Okay, for actinomorphic symmetry of a flower, this symbol is given. Okay, and for zygomorphic or bilateral symmetry, this symbol is given, this percentage kind of symbol. Okay, now for if we want to show fusion in the floral world, okay, for example, if we want to represent that in the calyx, 4 sepals are there and all of these are fused to each other. So we will draw a bracket like this. Okay, this represents that all of the sepals are fused with each other. Now if we want to show that the corolla and androecium is there, okay, so 4 stamens for example are there and 4 petals are there. So we are writing these numbers. These represent the number of sepals or petals. In case of androecium, the number of stamens. In case of gynoecium, the number of carpels. So these numbers represent the number of units of that wall that are present in it. Okay, so if we want to show adhesion, that if we want to show epipetalous condition, so we can draw a sign like this. Okay, this symbol. This symbol is showing adhesion. That means that the stamens are fused with the petals, with the corolla. Okay, so this was about the different floral symbols. Now let us come to the floral diagram. A floral diagram provides information about the number of the parts of a flower. Okay, what part we are studying and the number of those parts of a flower, their arrangement and the relation that the different floral parts have with one another. Okay. The position of the mother axis with respect to the flower is represented by a dot on the top of a floral diagram. So this is the floral diagram, right? This is the dot that we are talking about. This represents the mother axis. Okay. So position of mother axis with respect to the flower can be seen here. This is the mother axis with respect and the flower is present here. So when we make this dot, we can see how the flower is arranged with respect to the mother axis. This is the location of the flower and these are how the floral parts can be seen with respect to the mother axis. So if the axis is present here, the flower is located like this. Okay, you can figure out what is the orientation of the floral parts with respect to the mother axis or the main stem. What is the mother axis? The main stem on which the flowers are arranged, or the main axis, okay, where the flowers are attached to the plant. So the calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium are drawn in successive whorls. Calyx is the outermost whorl and the gynoecium is present in the center. Okay, so as they are seen in a flower, first of all calyx is there, then comes the corolla, then androecium, and the most structure is the gynoecium. These are present in successive whorls. So when we draw it in the floral diagram also, we make calyx as the outermost whorl and gynoecium is present in the center. Okay, so this layer, this green colored layer represents the calyx. Okay, which is represented by the floral symbol K. Then these yellow colored structures represents the corolla, which is represented by the floral symbol C. Then these represent the androecium, which is represented by the floral symbol A, and the innermost portion is the gynoecium, which is represented by the floral symbol G. Okay, so this is the floral formula of this, and this is the flower of Brassica campestris. Okay, it is the floral diagram of Brassica campestris, and below it is written the floral formula of the same. So this is E bracteate, that is why capital E PR is written here. The flower does not contain bracts. It is actinomorphic in symmetry. Okay, it can be cut in any plane, and we will obtain two equal or two symmetrical halves, whether we cut it in any of the planes. So it is radial symmetry or actinomorphic symmetry. The flower is bisexual. It comprises of both androecium and gynoecium. So this symbol is mentioned here. So this is the order in which we will write the floral formula also. First we will cover these parts, whether the flower is bracteate or ebracteate, then its symmetry, then whether it is bisexual or unisexual, then we would move forward to the calyx part. Okay, so calyx is present in 2 plus 2, it is present in two whorls. Okay, 2 inside, 2 outside. So that is why we are writing it as 2 plus 2. Then corolla, okay, 4 petals are there, so we write it as 4. Then comes the androecium part. Tetradynamous condition is present in Brassica. Okay, the inner 4 stamens are longer and the outer 2 stamens are shorter. Okay, so that is why the condition mentioned is 2 plus 4. Then gynoecium is present. Two ovaries are there. Okay, 2 carpels are there, but they are fused with each other. So syncarpous condition is there. That is why this symbol is fusion symbol is mentioned here, because in the previous table we studied, right, for fusion this symbol is has to be mentioned. So that is why the 2 is surrounded by closed brackets, because it represents that the 2 carpels are fused with each other. Syncarpous condition is there, and since the ovary is superior, that is why below this 2 we have drawn a line like this. Now let's come to the family Solanaceae. Okay, it is a large family, which is also known as the potato family, because The scientific name of potato is Solanum tuberosum and it belongs to the family Solanaceae. So this family is widely distributed in tropics, subtropics and even in temperate zones. What are the vegetative characters of family Solanaceae? Plants mostly are herbs, shrubs and rarely they are small trees. Okay, so this is the habit part that we are covering in the vegetative characters first. So these are mostly herbs, shrubs and they are not trees. Rarely there would be, if trees are there, they are very small trees. Now let's come to the stem part. The stems are herbaceous. Herbaceous stems are there, they are rarely woody. They are aerial, okay, that is they are present above the ground, they rise up to a certain height, they are erect, the stem is cylindrical, it is branched, it is solid or it can be hollow also depending upon the species. It is hairy or it can be glabrous. Glabrous is it is shiny, it means that hair is not present. So if we call a stem as glabrous, it means that it is hair free. It can be smooth or it can be glossy also, okay, if it is glabrous. Both the cases can exist. So in case of potato, it is an underground stem, okay, Solanum tuberosum. So potato is a modified stem, okay, and it forms underground. So it is an underground modification of the stem. Now in case of leaves, the leaves are present in an alternate phyllotaxy. The phyllotaxy is alternate, they are simple, they are rarely pinnately compound and they are exstipulate. Okay, stipules are not present. Venation is reticulate because it is a dicot. So it is but obvious that the venation would be reticulate. So this is the diagram of Solanum niagrum, which is also known as McCoy commonly. So this is how it looks like. So if you will match, all of the characters could be seen here. Okay, the stem is aerial, it is cylindrical. Okay, the leaves have reticulate venation. All right, and the stem is green. Okay, it is not woody. It is herbaceous. The leaves are present alternately, one present here, then one present here and so on. Okay, they are simple leaves. Now let's move forward. Now let's come to the floral characters. So the inflorescence of Solanaceae family is solitary. Okay, it could be axillary or cymose as in Solanum. Flowers are bisexual and actinomorphic. Bisexual means that they comprise both the male and the female reproductive organs, and actinomorphic means that they show radial symmetry. Calyx, they contain 5 sepals which are united, that is fused with each other. They are persistent, so even after the formation of the fruit, the calyx remains. It shows valvate estivation, that means all the end of one sepal all the sepals are present end to end. Okay, the estivation is like that. They are not overlapping each other. All the sepals are present end to end. So in the floral diagram, you can match this, that this is the calyx region. So these are 5 sepals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all of these are fused with each other. And for fusion, this symbol is given. This symbol is drawn like this. This shows the fusion between the various sepals. Okay, and the estivation is valvate. See, they are present end to end. Right, now let's come to corolla. Corolla also comprises of 5 petals. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it is a pentamerous flower because the floral parts are present in multiples of 5. So 5 petals are there, they are also united. That is why this symbol is drawn. This symbol is drawn here like this. They also show valvate estivation. Petals are also present end to end. They do not overlap each other. Now let's come to the androecium. 5 stamens are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since they are epipetalous means that the stamens are fused with the petals or attached to the petals. So that is why at the point of fusion only they are drawn. See, the petals are fused with each other. right? So at this point only we have shown stamens also, because we have to show that they are attached to the petals. So here we have drawn all the 5 stamens like this in order to show their attachment to the petals. If they were not attached, we would not have connected these two whorls, because we want to show their fusion. That is why we have drawn this line in order to show the connection of these two whorls. This line we have drawn like this. Okay, so if you would see here, here we have not drawn this line, right? Because we were not, epipetalous condition is not present here, but here epipetalous condition is there. That is why we are connecting the androecium to the petals. But here we have not drawn any line to connect these two whorls, because epipetalous condition is not present here. Now let's come to the gynoecium. Gynoecium is bicarpellary. So two carpels are present, okay? And an obliquely placed ovary is there. See, the ovary, the orientation of ovary is tilted, oblique. That means diagonally placed. And why is it diagonally placed? Because of the presence of an oblique septum here. This septum, which is dividing the two carpels like this. Okay. Since the ovaries are fused with each other, the condition is syncarpous. The ovary is superior in this case. Okay, and it is bilocular. Now bilocular means that two locules are present. Okay, so this septa is dividing the bicarpellary ovary into two locules. Okay, so this is ovary number 1, this is ovary number 2. They are fused together. They are separated by the formation of this septa, which is obliquely placed. Okay, so this is the characteristic feature of the family Solanaceae, that an obliquely placed septum is there, and this inside this swollen portion here represents the placenta. So placenta in case of Solanaceae is swollen. This is also a characteristic feature of the family Solanaceae. Okay, that bicarpellary obliquely placed septum is there, and then placenta is swollen and many ovules are attached to it. Axial placentation is seen here. Okay. As you can see here, the ovules are attached to the placenta. Ovary is divided into locules. Okay, bilocular ovary is there because two carpels are coming and fusing together, and the septa is separating the ovary into two locules. Syncarpous condition is there. So a single ovary is there because the condition is syncarpous, but it is formed of two carpels. Okay. So these are some of the characteristic features of Solanaceae that you must need to remember, that the placenta is swollen and the obliquely placed septum is there. The ovary is obliquely placed because of the formation of an obliquely placed septum. Axial placentation is there, and the fruit is known as a berry or a capsule. Seeds can be many because multiple ovules are there, so many seeds can be there. Seeds are there, multiple seeds are there, and they are endospermous. Presence of endosperm is there, so endospermic seeds are there. Okay, these number B, C, D and E are representing the flowers. This is the complete flower. Okay, this represents the female reproductive organ of the Solanaceae family flowers. This represents the androecium region of the Solanaceae. This is the zoom in portion of the gynoecium of Solanaceae. Okay, now let us move forward. So many plants belonging to this family, Solanaceae family, are source of food. We are studying the economic importance here. How are they economically important? So many plants belonging to this family are source of food. Okay, the most famous is potato. We Indians in all of the sabji, like aloo hame dalna hi hai. Okay, so we know how important is potato in our vegetables or the food that we make. Okay, so many plants belonging to this family are source of food. Other vegetables are tomato, brinjal, potato, spice, chili. So these are the sources of food. Tomato, brinjal and potato. We consume it. The most famous is the potato. Then tomato is also there. Brinjal is also there. In spices, chili is there. As medicines, belladonna, ashwagandha. As fumigatory, tobacco is there. As ornamentals, petunia is there. Okay, ornamentals means for decoration purposes. Petunia is used. Then tobacco is there, which is also used in cigarettes. So what does fumigatory exactly mean? If a plant is fumigatory, it means that it has smoke producing properties. So if tobacco is used in cigarettes, we all know that cigarettes are used for smoking. So that's why tobacco also belongs to the family Solanaceae, and it has fumigatory properties. That's why it's used in cigarettes for its smoke producing properties. So all of these examples that are mentioned in brackets are the examples of various plants which belong to the family Solanaceae. So tomato, brinjal, potato, chili, belladonna, ashwagandha, tobacco, petunia, all of these plants have various different kinds of economic importance. So as food, tomato, brinjal and potato is used; as spice, chili is used; as medicine, belladonna and ashwagandha are used; for its fumigatory properties, tobacco is used; and as an ornamental plant for decoration purposes, petunia is used. Okay, so this is the floral formula that we have written for the family Solanaceae. Okay, so here the plant that we are studying is Solanum nigrum plant. So the floral formula here looks like this. Actinomorphic symmetry is represented by this symbol. The flower is bisexual, so this symbol is there. The calyx comprises of 5 sepals which are fused with each other. That is why we have written number 5 and we have drawn closed brackets around it in order to show that the sepals are fused with each other. Then corolla is there, which comprises of 5 petals, which all of the petals are fused with each other. That is why the closed brackets are drawn here. Then androecium is present, which comprises of 5 stamens. Okay, the stamens are free but they are fused to the petals. So that is why we have not drawn brackets here, because they are not fused with each other. But epipetalous condition is there. That means that the stamens are fused to the petals or attached to the petals. That's why we have drawn this line between the corolla and the androecium whorls in order to show the epipetalous condition and in order to show that the stamens are fused with the petals or attached to the petals. Okay, that is why we have drawn this line. Then gynoecium is present. Okay, the ovary is superior, that is hypogynous condition is there. That is why we have written G above this line. And since bicarpillary condition is there and syncarpous condition is there, so we have written 2 in order to show that 2 carpels are there. For syncarpous condition, we have drawn closed brackets in order to show that the 2 carpels are fused with each other. And this is the floral diagram. We have already studied this diagram in detail in the previous slide. Now let's come to the Neet PYQs. So this question is from Neet 2019. Bicarpillary ovary with obliquely placed septum is seen in. We have just covered this part. So bicarpillary ovary with obliquely placed septum is the characteristic feature of the family Solanaceae. I told you to remember this characteristic feature because it is very important, and these characteristic features are usually asked in the exam. Questions are put up from these parts. Okay, because these are the characteristic features. So the answer to this question is bicarpillary ovary with obliquely placed septum is seen in option number D, Solanum. So it is a characteristic feature of the family Solanaceae, right? So out of these options, we have to identify that which of these belongs to the family Solanaceae. So it is but obvious. The name only suggests that Solanum belongs to the family Solanaceae. So the correct answer is option number D. Now this question is from Neet 2014. We have to tell which of the following statements is correct. The seed in grasses is not endospermic. Is this statement correct? No, it is not correct. Grasses belong to monocots. Okay. And most of the monocots are endospermic except some orchids which have non-endospermic seeds. Mango is a parthenocarpic fruit. This is also incorrect. Mango is not a parthenocarpic fruit. It is a simple fruit, and fertilization, it develops from a fertilized ovary. Okay. It contains seeds also within it. Mango is basically a drupe, and it comprises of seed inside the fruit. It is not seedless, so it is not a parthenocarpic fruit. In this case, mango develops, parthenocarpic fruits are those where the ovaries are not fertilized, and unfertilized ovaries develop into fruits. But in mango, fertilization takes place. The ovaries are fertilized. Okay, the pollen grains, the male gametes enter the embryo sac, fertilization takes place, then seeds form, fruits form, ovules develop into seeds, and ovule develops into the seed, and the ovary develops into the fruit. Okay, so mango comprises of a single seed only. So it is not a parthenocarpic fruit because It is not seedless, and it develops from fertilized ovary and ovules. Option number C is saying a proteinaceous alluron layer is present in maize. Yes, this option is correct. We studied in the cross section of the maize seed that the endosperm is surrounded by a proteinaceous layer which is known as the alluron layer, which separates the endosperm from the embryo. Okay, it is basically a boundary between these two structures. A sterile pistil is called a staminode. This option is also incorrect. A sterile stamen is known as a staminode. A sterile pistil is known as a pistillode, not a staminode. So the correct answer or the correct statement is option number C. An aggregate fruit is one which develops from Neet 2014. An aggregate fruit develops from multicarpellary Syncarpus gynoecium. No, incorrect, because an aggregate fruit is a collection of numerous fruitlets, and each of these fruitlets develop from a free ovary. A free ovary would be present in a free carpel. So a single flower is there in an aggregate fruit. Aggregate fruit develops from a single flower which comprises of numerous free ovaries. Okay, that means apocarpus condition is there. Multiple carpels are there, and since multiple carpels are there, multiple ovaries are there, and all of the ovaries are free, and hence the condition is apocarpus, and each of these carpels or each of these ovaries would give rise to a fruitlet, and all of these fruitlets are collectively called as the aggregate fruit. Okay, all of these fruitlets comprise of a fruit. These come together in order to make an aggregate fruit. So option number B is saying multicarpellary apocarpus gynoecium. So yes, this option is correct. Option number C is saying complete inflorescence. No, because complete inflorescence is involved in composite fruits, not in aggregate fruits. And multicarpellary Syncarpus gynoecium means that a single ovary, Syncarpus condition means a single ovary is there. Even if multiple carpels are there, it is a single ovary. So this condition is responsible for the formation of a simple fruit, not an aggregate fruit. So for the aggregate fruit, the correct answer is option number B. Option number D is saying multicarpellary superior ovary. So this option is also incorrect because information here is incomplete only. Multicarpellary superior ovary could be there in any of the cases, whether it is a aggregate fruit or it is a composite or a simple fruit. But here what the main point that we need to differentiate among different types of fruits is whether the condition is apocarpus or syncarpus, or whether a single flower is there or the complete inflorescence is there. Because in aggregate fruit and simple fruits, only a single flower is involved, and in composite fruits or in multiple fruits, the complete inflorescence is involved in giving rise to a fruit. Okay, so for this question, the correct answer is option number B. This question again is from Neet 2014. Non-albuminous seed is produced in maize, castor, wheat or pea. So non-albuminous seed means non-endospermic seed. Albuminous seeds, these are just the different terms for the same concept. Endospermic seeds are also known as albuminous seeds, and non-endospermic seeds are also known as non-albuminous seeds. Okay. So non-albuminous seeds are produced in, or non-endospermic seeds are produced in maize, castor, wheat or pea. So we know that in maize is a monocot, right? So it comprises of endospermic seeds, because most of the monocots are endospermic only. There are exceptions in some of the orchids which show non-endospermic seeds. Wheat also is a monocot and it has endospermic seeds or albuminous seeds. Castor is a dicot and it also has endospermic or albuminous seeds. So option number A, B and C are not correct. The correct answer is option number D. Pea contains non-endospermic or non-albuminous seeds. We covered this example when we were studying the differentiating table between the endospermic and non-endospermic seeds as well. Okay, so let us move forward now. Now this question is from Neet 2013. Seed coat is not thin or membranous in maize, coconut, groundnut or gram. Now the seed coat is meant to protect the seed from mechanical injury, from predators, or basically to prevent the drying out of seeds. seed coat develops from the integument portion of the ovule. Okay, so it can be very thin, membranous, papery also, and it can be very thick and hard also. So in case of maize, groundnut and gram, it is very thin. In maize, in the case of maize and gram, it is very thin and papery. In case of groundnut, it is very thin, but it is hard. Okay, so these three options are incorrect. Okay, because they are very thin and membranous. In case of maize, groundnut and gram, the seed coat is very thin and membranous, but in case of coconut, it is very thick and hard. Okay, coconut is very hard, so it is the seed coat which is very hard in coconut, right? So the correct answer here is option number B. Seed coat can either be thin, papery or membranous as in maize, groundnut or gram, or it can be very thick and hard as in coconut, right? So the correct answer is option number B. Now this question again is from Neet 2013. Perisperm differs from endosperm in being a haploid tissue, having no reserve food, being a diploid tissue, or its formation by the fusion of secondary nucleus with several sperms. So what is a perisperm? So we all know that the innermost region of an ovule is the nucellus. Okay. So the nucellus tissue, what happens, it is absorbed and absent in a mature seed. After double fertilization, when a mature seed is forming, and when a mature seed is formed, the nucellus is absorbed. Okay, it is absent. But what happens in some cases, the remnants of the nucellus remain, and these remnants form a tissue which is known as the perisperm. So perisperm is basically a tissue which is derived from the nucellar tissue. It represents the remnants of the nucellar tissue, and perisperm is a nutritive tissue. Just like endosperm provides nutrition to the developing embryo, similarly perisperm has also nutritive functions. Okay, it can provide nutrition to the embryo. See, it is present in black pepper also, perisperm. It is present in beet also. Certain other examples are also there. Okay, so this is the perisperm. This region is the perisperm. This is the endosperm which is surrounding the embryo, and this region here represents the perisperm. This is in black pepper. For example, in beet also you can see this is the endosperm, this region which is surrounding this green colored embryo. Right, this white region is the endosperm which is surrounding this green colored embryo, and inside this red colored region represents the perisperm. So perisperm is a nutritive tissue which is derived from the nucellus. Okay, it is formed from the remnants of the nucellar tissue, and it has nutritive functions. So this is how it is different from the endosperm tissue. Since it is derived from the nucellar tissue, it is diploid in nature, right? Because the parent tissue is diploid. And the endosperm, we all know that it is formed as a result of triple fusion, right? And the triploid endosperm nucleus, the triploid primary endosperm nucleus divides to form the endosperm tissue. That is why it is triploid in nature. So the correct answer would be perisperm differs from endosperm in being a diploid tissue. Endosperm is triploid, whereas perisperm is diploid. So option number 1 is incorrect. It is not a haploid tissue. Having no reserve food. No, it does have reserve food. Perisperm also has reserve food and endosperm also has reserve food. So this option is also incorrect. Option number C we have already marked as the correct option. Option number 4, its formation by the fusion of secondary nucleus with several sperms. This option is also incorrect. Perisperm is not formed because of the fusion of secondary nucleus with several sperms. It is formed from the nucellar tissue, and the endosperm also is not formed by the fusion of secondary nucleus with several sperms. It is formed from the fusion of the secondary nucleus with a single male gamete, not several male gametes. The secondary nucleus fuses with a single male gamete in order to form a triploid endosperm nucleus, which gives rise to the endosperm. One of the male gamete has already fused with the egg cell. The second male gamete goes and fuses with the secondary nucleus in order to form a triploid endosperm nucleus, which will lead to the formation of the endosperm. So the correct answer here is option number C. Perisperm differs from endosperm in being a diploid tissue. So let us move forward now. So this question is from AIPMT 2012. It says that how many plants in the list given below have composite fruits that develop from an inflorescence? Okay. So walnut, poppy, radish, fig, pineapple, apple, tomato, or mulberry. So out of all these fruits, we have to identify that which among the following are composite fruits which develop from an inflorescence. So what are composite fruits? Composite fruits are also known as multiple fruits, right? What are these? These are the fruits which develop from the entire inflorescence, in contrast to a single flower, as in aggregate fruits and simple fruits. So in simple and aggregate fruits, only a single flower was involved in giving rise to a fruit, right? But in case of composite fruits, the whole inflorescence is involved in giving rise to a single fruit. Okay, so what is an inflorescence? An inflorescence is a collection of flowers. So all of the flowers in the inflorescence are involved in the formation of a fruit in case of composite fruits. Okay, that is why such fruits are composite fruits are also known as infructescence, because the entire inflorescence is involved in the formation of composite fruits. Now we studied 3 examples in case of composite fruits. These were fig, pineapple and mulberry. We also studied the pineapple fruit image and its inflorescence image. As you would recall that each of the segment in the pineapple fruit developed from one flower present in the inflorescence. So inflorescence of pineapple had, obviously it will have numerous pineapple flowers, right? So each flower in that inflorescence was involved in giving rise to a segment in the pineapple fruit. Okay, so in a similar way, all of the composite fruits, be it the fruit of fig or mulberry, in all of these fruits, each of the flower of the inflorescence is contributing in the formation of the composite fruit, in the mature fruit. Okay, so let us look at the other cases. Walnut. Now walnut is a simple fruit. Okay, it is a nut. It comprises of a very hard and woody epicarp. Okay, so walnut comprises of a very hard and woody epicarp. It is also called as a nut. This is a simple fruit. It is not a composite fruit. In case of poppy, poppy is a capsule. Okay, radish. And this capsule, this is also a simple fruit. Poppy is also a simple fruit. The type is capsule. So radish is a root modification. It is a root that performs storage function. Okay. So the radish that we consume is nothing but a modified root that has modified itself to perform the storage function. It stores food. Alright. So this option is also incorrect because this is neither a simple fruit nor a composite fruit. This is an underground modification. It is a root modification. In case of apple, apple is also a simple false fruit. Okay, apple is a pseudocarp. We studied about apple in detail when we were discussing about pseudocarps, right? In case of composite fruits. So apple is a simple false fruit which is also known as a pome. The type is pome. Tomato is a berry. Tomato is also a simple fruit, alright, and it is a fleshy fruit. The entire tomato is edible. You can consume the whole of tomato. Okay, it has a very fleshy pericarp, hence it is a fleshy fruit. So the correct answer would be, what are the 3 composite fruits among all these cases? Fig, pineapple and mulberry. So the correct answer is option number D3. Option number A, B and C are incorrect. Now this question is from AIPMT 2011. Which one of the following statements is correct? We have to tell. So option number 1 says seeds of orchids have oil-rich endosperm. This statement is incorrect. Okay, seeds of orchids do not have endosperm. They are non-endospermic seeds. Now orchids belong to monocots, and in monocots we studied that all of the monocots, most of the monocots are endospermic except orchids which have non-endospermic seeds. Other than that, all of the monocots have endospermic seeds. So this option is incorrect because seeds of orchids are non-endospermic. Placentation in primrose is basal. This option is also incorrect because placentation in primrose is free central, not basal. Flower of tulip is a modified shoot. This statement is absolutely correct because flowers, be it of tulip or any other flower, flowers are nothing but modified shoots only. Okay, so this statement is completely correct. Option number D says in tomato, fruit is a capsule. This statement is also incorrect because in tomato, fruit is a berry, not a capsule. Alright, so the correct answer among all of these is option number C. Now this question is from AIPMT 2011. The correct floral formula of chili is. Now chili belongs to the family Solanaceae. Okay, and we have already studied the floral formula of the family Solanaceae, and the floral formula would remain the same across all the members belonging to a particular family. So all the plants which belong to a particular family will have the same floral formula. So whether it is Solanum nigrum, Solanum tuberosum, chili, potato, tomato, Solanum tuberosum, which is potato. So any plant which belongs to the family Solanaceae would have the floral formula, would have the same floral formula. So you can relate the floral formula that we studied in the family Solanaceae to the correct option here. Okay, so the correct option here would be option number A. In Solanaceae, we studied that epipetalous condition is there. So in none of the options, epipetalous condition is shown. Only in option number 1, petals and androecium are attached to each other. The corolla and androecium have this connection which is shown by this line here. So the correct answer is option number A. Actinomorphic condition is there. The flower is bisexual. Sepals are 5 infused. Corolla is 5 infused. Androecium contains 5 stamens and they are epipetalous. That is why this connection is there. And the ovary is superior bicarpillary. So option A is correct. Option number B, C and D are incorrect because not even epipetalous condition is being shown here, except other things are also wrong here. Okay, here this stamens are shown fused with each other, which is incorrect. Okay, here the calyx and the corolla, they are not shown as the fusion sign is not here because in case of Solanaceae family members, the sepals are fused with each other, petals are fused with each other, but here that condition is not shown by brackets. It is shown in androecium, which is incorrect because the stamens are free. And in option number D also, here the brackets are missing, right? And this connection between the corolla and androecium is missing in all of the 3 options, right? And in these 2 options also, the bracket here is also missing. The ovary here is syncarpous. Two carpels are there which are fused with each other. That is why this bracket is shown. Okay, so the correct answer would be option number A. Now this question is from AIPMT 2011. A drupe develops in wheat, pea, tomato or mango. So what happens in drupe? The endocarp is very stony and hard. Okay, and in drupe we study 2 examples of mango and coconut. In both the cases, the endocarp is very stony and hard, right? So the correct answer to this option is option number D, mango. In wheat, the fruit is caryopsis, not a drupe. In pea, it is a pod or a legume. In tomato, the fruit is known as a berry, which is fleshy, not hard. As in mango, the gutli jo region hai, which is the innermost region which is surrounding the seed, that represents the very thick and hard stony endocarp. In coconut, we all know that the endocarp is very thick and stony. The coconut, the outer layer of the coconut is very hard, right? So the correct answer to this question is option number D. So that was all for today's video, students. Hope you like this video. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have any feedback and suggestions, or if you found something useful, do let me know in the comments below, and like this video, definitely share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.